Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining me on a Wednesday. I know it's like a crazy day, right? I know Cheryl is in the chat. She's there to answer all kinds of questions. If you have any thoughts or questions or any comments, I am able to read them while I'm doing our demonstration. And then Cheryl's there to pop in links and all that kind of stuff as well. So I did have a question. So we've been doing all of our videos on Wednesday, but I've been talking to a lot of my nail tech friends, and the general consensus seems to be that Mondays might be better. So if that's the case, I want y'all to throw stuff in the chat. Let us know what might work better for you. If there's another day or anything like that, we want to hear, because we want to be as flexible and as reliable though at the same time. So if it's Monday, we want to always make it Monday, right? So this time we've always made it Wednesday, but we just want to make sure that everything's accessible to you. So if that's the case, throw it in the chat what works best for you. Of course, we always put our videos up on YouTube so you have them later. So who's excited about some nail art? So last week we did green, this beautiful jade. I actually still have it here. Check it out. Woo-hoo-hoo. Look at that. Wah, wah. This is the one we did last week. And I decided this entire month of March, I want to do nothing but like stone effects. So today we're doing this fire opal look in acrylic, and next week I want to do turquoise. So I just kept thinking, there's so many crazy things going on in the world right now. I feel like being, connected to the earth and stones and rocks and all of that is just very, it's very cathartic. It's healing for us. So I thought, let's make the whole month of March all about stones. So today we are doing this fire opal. Now, how many of you have actually put little pieces of rocks or crushed up crystals or anything in your acrylic nails? Like, did you know that we could do that? So we're going to do that today. I actually have some pieces of opal. Let me show you. So this is, you get it at a rock store. You could get, anything like this. So it does not look like much, but here we go. These are actual crushed opals. Okay. You could also use little pieces of abalone. You could use little pieces of shell, rocks, crystals, all kinds of things. But when you put opals in a nail and then you encapsulate it with clear, it really adds some fire. So not only are we doing this, which is just, you can get from anywhere, we're also going to be using some chrome to add our fire to. So this is some chrome. And of course, our acrylic that we have. And I had showed you guys this a few weeks ago. I had mixed up a really pretty white acrylic with just a little bit of sparkle and a very pretty pink acrylic with a little bit of sparkle. And then we have our clear. So first things first, let's go ahead and get a tip applied, okay? Look at all of you guys saying that Mondays are good for you. Oh, that's so good. Okay, great. So I'm using a tip here. I already had prepped this nail, and I'm just going to use a tip. Now, here's something I want to talk about for a second. I don't mean to talk so much, but this is important. When you're applying a tip, have you ever felt like if I press this tip down, I can make the sides fit? And then you're pressing and pressing, and that's where your little tip starts bubbling up a little bit. So did you know that nail tips are ABS virgin plastic? It means it's not been recycled, and it means it's been pressed in such a way in these forms that they will not, it's almost impossible to get them to change their shape. So like this one, you can see is rounded like this, okay? That's that C curve. So if we try to flatten it out and press it out like this, it's only a matter of time before it pops right back up to its original shape, which was that C curve. So if you're working on a client or you're working on a practice hand and you're trying to force it down, eventually it's going to pop back up and it's going to be really hard to avoid those bubbles. So if you're in between sizes with a tip, it's better to go up a little bit to where you can just lay this down nicely without pressing too hard, and instead just filing off your little corners. Does that make sense? Okay, you can tell me thumbs up if it makes sense. Yes, whatever you want in the chat. So if you need to, you can file it just a little bit here and file it a little bit here. There's so many times that I've talked about that lateral sidewall going down that nail, like down the side here. And if our tips are too small, we think, oh, well, I can just, where's my glue? There's my glue. I can just force that tip in there, or I can maybe add a little bit of acrylic out on the side. Yes, you can, but you've now just created a weak spot on that nail, and guaranteed the second that your client starts scrubbing her bathroom or her kitchen, or maybe she's just making her bed, that's where those nails are going to snap. All right, so we're going to go ahead and push this down, and we start from the free edge and roll back. Sometimes that means that we get a little bit of glue that seeps out of the back. It's really no big deal. We'll just wipe it off, okay? If you need to grab your little corners here, there's that, you can see where that little bubble came in. See what I'm saying? It's a good thing to know. And I was that person. I was like, ooh, if I can go down a size in the nail, maybe it'll make the fingernail beds look skinnier or thinner or not so wide. And all of a sudden I started getting these bubbles in the middle of the nails as they grew out. And I was like, what is going on? That was what it was. Just took a little bit of research, but I figured it out. Okay, so here's our tip. All right, and let me move my little hand back a little. She's good as long as she's bent down, but as soon as I straighten out her finger, All right, sliding back just a little. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, and we're gonna trim this down. And then we're gonna take our little file across that stress point. Where's my clippers? Oh, goodness. You ever started cleaning things up and then you start losing things because you knew where it was at when it wasn't so organized? ADHD at work, just saying. All right, we're gonna make it a little bit longer because I just feel kind of like a little bit of a longer nail today. So move that out of the way and we'll file our little sidewall. And I'm actually gonna make this nice and narrow. We want like a nice coffin style nail today. Okay, so how many of you have done nails like this? I want to see. How many of you have done like any kind of stone or like the marble? If you got to watch last week's with us, did you get to do one? Because I want to hear how it went for you. A little more. Okay. And then we're just gonna go on that seam there, get that all filed down so it's nice and smooth. Now, I really like the idea of using a clear tip with this particular style of nail because I wanted the light to shine through underneath from that, from those opals, okay? So when we're laying down our opals, I wanna make sure that we get those in that clear area so that the light shines through. So where it doesn't shine through on the natural nail bed, we're gonna make that a little bit more of our, like our pink and white marbly look, okay? All right, so that looks pretty good. Nice and thin, nice and little. I hate how sometimes the camera makes everything look 10 pounds heavier. You guys notice that? Okay. All right, so let me get some liquid for us. And we're gonna pull out our opals. Woohoo! And I will describe exactly what I'm laying down as I'm laying it down, okay? And then we have some of our chrome here. So this is like they call this like a white chrome. It actually has a shimmer of like a green pink. So I don't know if you know that. I like opals a lot, but I was born in October, so that could be why. And then also we have this kind of chrome, which these are the chrome flakes, okay? Seeing these? Yeah. So we're going to use some of that as well. And all of this stuff, except for the opals, can be found at Nailtech store. So Cheryl can throw that link up for you. We'll get everything set up here. All right. So I'm using this is my Spa One acrylic. And there is no reason why you couldn't do this with gel as well. And maybe that's something like down the road, we'll have to start doing nails like this in hard gel. I'm learning that there's a lot of spas that don't like an acrylic because of the smell. I totally get it, but I like the smell. I don't mind. So, but spas, they don't want it. So we'll do gel, and that way you can still do the fun, beautiful nail work without it being, in the way of, or the smell and bothering to the customers there, the clients there. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to dip our brush in clear, and then we're going to dip it in the opals. Okay, so this is like double dipping. You see that? And we're going to roll this off backwards. And you can see where the color of those opals has already taken on a different look, right? So with that, we're just going to kind of move these around a little. And I like to give it that geode effect. It's okay if it comes up onto that nail bed, but we definitely want it to come down in that clear tip. Now, if you don't have opals, if you don't have anything crushed like that, you can do the exact same effect with like crushed crystals or crushed glass. I actually have taken beads, like crushed beads, taken a hammer to them so I could make them really, like smash them really good and put them in my nails, okay? So next we're gonna take this, which these are those little chrome flakes, and we're gonna do that double dipping again, but just a tiny, tiny little bit in the clear. And we're just gonna double dip and pick up a little bit of those chrome flakes, and we'll roll it off backwards again. And once those chrome flakes hit that liquid, that acrylic liquid, they kind of break up a little bit, but it makes it look very fiery. I don't know if you can see that. We'll do that again. We'll grab the other side. Go over here. And the reason that I roll the brush when I have the acrylic on it that way is because then I'm able to really encapsulate that chrome, those chrome flakes with the acrylic, okay? So that's the start of our fire opal nail. So now we're going to grab that beautiful pink, which is a translucent pink, and we're going to roll it off again. And we're going to kind of maneuver it very thin. We talked about this last week, very, very thin. And we're going to grab a little bit of white because we like that little white marbly effect. Now this, what we're doing right here in this corner, this would be what you would do to achieve like a rose quartz or a pink quartz. So this, everything here, that's exactly what you would do to get that rose quartz look. And you could do the entire nail. But we don't want that. We want fire opal. So now I dipped in to that chrome a little bit with clear. And we're drawing almost like a little line here. You see that? Kind of pushing it into that white. Isn't that beautiful? I know it looks like it's like we're just kind of drawing a little bit, but that's actually exactly what we're doing. Do a little bit here with our opal, with that chrome that we have. Push it around. a little bit here. And now we're going to grab some more of that pink. So really this is a lot of like little beads that are wet so that we can kind of maneuver them. Once you get the hang of it, you will be able to bust out one of these nails like no problem. And a lot of it is figuring out how you want your stone to look. So we're going to grab a little bit more of that white. We're going to throw it over here. And we're going to push it right up against that ledge there, kind of like a geode. You know how those look? We'll do a little more white up here. There we go. And now we're going to grab pink, and we're actually going to double dip it into our clear. So we get like a really nice light pink. Just up in here, up around our cuticle. Remember when we're working around our cuticle to really feather. You don't want it with that big ledge back there. Do your best to not touch the skin of your client. And then I'm going to grab a little bit more of this flake. So I just dipped in my brush into the flake. I'm kind of just shoving it in there. So opals are actually created by water. And so that fire that you see in them, that's what like those chrome flakes are inside the opal, that is called fire. And so a higher quality opal is going to have a lot of fire. But did you know they are so, they're fragile. And so you have to take opals and actually rub them with oil to keep them from cracking, because they need moisture. So I don't know if you knew that. Isn't that crazy? So when you buy an opal at the store, a lot of times it's called a triplet. So the back of it is black. It's like black onyx. Then there's the opal in the center, and then the top of it has like a clear quartz, and that it protects the opal that way. So, and because of the black and behind it, it makes that fire stand out. So all the things you just didn't know about stones that you didn't know you needed to know, right? And on your Wednesday, let's learn a little bit about nothing class from Phoenix. Okay, so I'm just taking a little bit of the pink and I'm kind of pushing it in to see where we want it, or if I want more white, which sometimes I do want a little bit more white so it looks more like that white opal. We kind of just marble it around in there a little bit. If we want to put more of our chrome, we definitely can. And you know, when I grab the chrome with my acrylic brush, I'm not dipping in the acrylic liquid at all. I'm actually just picking it up with just the very tip of my brush. So once we get it kind of where we like it, that's where we're going to come in with our clear, and we're going to encapsulate the entire thing. We're sitting here looking at it and we think, wow, this is, that's going to be a really thick nail. It is not, I assure you. Let me bend her finger backwards so you can see right now. Oh, I can't do it. Hold on. I have to go the other way. I flip her over. Sorry. All right. There you can see it is very thin. Her hand is stuck in this this holder. Hold on. Slide forward. Okay. There we go. See? Very, 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 very thin. And I might just have to take her out of the holder to show you guys that. So let me slide her back and flip her back over. This is a great, great hand for practice. Definitely. All right. All right, so now let's go ahead and encapsulate all the way, the entire nail in clear, because I think that looks really good. What do you think? Yeah, yeah, okay, thumbs up. Okay, so we'll go ahead and add all the clear now. And this is not like, hey, let's do this whole thing in one big bead. We don't have to. We can start right at the middle. And we're going to feather backwards. There we go. And then we will bring it forward. And you know what I love? Like a nail like this doesn't look like much until you get that clear coat on. Oh, it's so wonderful. All right. Oh, great question. Okay, so if I were to do this on a client, how much extra would I charge? So every time I book a client, I actually charge them per minute. And so I know that if I'm going to do just like a regular set of nails or a rebalance or anything, it's going to take me about an hour and 15 minutes maybe, okay? This type of nail, you know, is going to add probably another 15 minutes. So that would be an extra $15. So it just depends. But you know what? Like sometimes we think, oh, we're not worth it. You absolutely are. These nails are specialty. They are wearing a piece of art on their hand, right? What about the rest of you? I know there's some that are professionals out here. How much would you charge for a nail like this? An extra on here. Throw that up in the chat. Let us know what you think. Oh yeah, when I say charge per minute, it's $1 a minute. So if somebody wants something super, super extravagant, you know what? It's gonna cost super extravagant to be that person, right? But nobody's gonna walk around with identical nails, are they? They're all gonna be super different. They're gonna be very special just for them. Okay, so got that nice and encapsulated. So we're gonna let that dry. And while I let that dry, I'm gonna go ahead and clean out my brush. So you guys remember how I clean out my brushes, right? It's always with the monomer that I use. Yeah. Okay, so the products that I use. Okay, so Megan, great question. So all of the chromes are actually on the nailtech store. So Cheryl can throw up that link for you. It's nailtechstore.ca, I believe. And so those are the chromes. They have a lot of chromes on their website. And then it's just the clear acrylic and pink and white acrylic. That's all it is. And then in the center are actual opals or crushed opals, but you don't have to use crushed opals. You can use crushed flakes. You can use crushed beads. You can do little pieces of glass, things like that. And then of course, clear acrylic. So that is all. I know it looks like so exciting. Oh, okay. So Cheryl, she might be able to help with that. The only thing you see is module for the course. Okay. Nope. We'll make sure that we get you directed to the store because there's lots of cool stuff on there. Lots of stuff for nail art. We're starting to go through and get our nail art stuff out. So I'm cleaning up my brush. Putting that all away. And did you know it takes longer for acrylic to dry, you know, on a trainer hand than it does in real life? You guys know why? Well, chemistry question. And then I have to give you all a second to answer, right? We'll see what y'all say. Okay. It's heat. It's heat. Yes, the temp of the hand. Yes. Extra stars for you. Good job. Okay, so I always tap it with my finger and it's not quite like it'll sound like plastic. Have you learned that yet? Like when you tap it, it sounds like plastic and it doesn't sound like plastic yet. So we're gonna let that for just a second. So just clean up for a second, which always seems to be a good plan. All right, a little bit more. Okay, so there we go. The product category, nail art. Cheryl went ahead and dropped it in the chat for you. So what we should do, I mean, this would be kind of fun. So next week's nail is turquoise. I love turquoise. As a little girl, my grandmother always wore this big, beautiful ring, and it was just turquoise. And she got it in Arizona, and she wore it like the whole time I was growing up. And before she died, she had asked me, she said, "Is there anything that I have that you would like?" I was like, I could have asked like, "Oh, I want, your diamond ring or whatever." No, you know what? I wanted that turquoise ring. So I still have it and I wear it. So next week when we do that nail, I'll have to wear my grandma's turquoise ring. I'll have to show you. So, okay. Yep. So she'll get shells added. And like I said, if you have beads, or, because beads were like really huge for a long time, throw in a Ziploc bag and take a hammer to it, and you're going to get all kinds of really beautiful effects from that. Very similar to what actual opals are. So, and I have opals in all different colors. And you know what else you could do? You could use those abalone shells. Those are really beautiful because those come in different colors as well. So, which I used abalone one time to do like a geode, beautiful geode nail. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and file this. And I always say to have a filing system. So you will see I always file on the right side and then the left side. How many of you like turn in your seats when you're filing? Did you know that that's a good trick for you? Because sometimes as you start filing, you might find yourself like rounding out one side. The way you avoid that is changing your position in your seats, or maybe turning a little bit. Maybe turn your client a little bit if you need to. Okay, and I'm going to grab our free edge here. And down the road, we are going to be offering so many different trainings. So a lot of people who have been students of Mirage Spa Education were given these modules to do module 5, right? Well, module 5 is nothing but nail art. Well, I've been thinking, what if we had a live module 5 and we did like a 4-hour class and it was open to all alumni from Mirage Spa, and it was nothing but a live module 5 for nail art. What? Come on, tell me you guys that's awesome. Some of your faces are like, I think it's amazing. Okay, so in addition, we're going to be talking about some different use of like e-files, because I think we need to definitely focus on some e-file training. So I'm going to use an e-file, but I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing. You just got to watch, because that'll come up in some of our next trainings. Okay, so Danica, we're going to make sure you're available. Okay, like we're going to see if we can put it out there and try and get as many people to join for a 4-hour live module 5. I think that'd be amazing. Okay, so I'm actually just using a sanding band, you guys. I'm just teasing you. Okay, I'm using a sanding band. And I'm going to go up the side, across the back, and down the other side. So what you'll notice is I always file the exact same way. Always have. And getting into that system is really, really smart, really smart. So whether I'm hand filing or e-filing, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to come down that barrel. The reason I chose an e-file today, and you could do it with a hand file as well, but I've been noticing a lot of people are using an e-file in their modules, which is fantastic. I just want you to see some of the best ways to do that until we can get you some formal training, okay? So I think that's one of the biggies. People want that kind of training all the time. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab it from the side here. Blended beautifully. Don't be afraid to get right up under that free edge. All right. I think that looks really good. Did you see how fast that was? And then push her back where she belongs. Oh, yes, Christine, I think you absolutely would need to come. Maybe we can make it a day where we could get Endra to join us too. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Yes. Everybody, Christine is from Trinidad, and her and Endra are two of my favorite people that I ever met ever in my entire life. And did you know they took me to the India Bazaar and they helped me get henna on my shoulder all the way down my arm, and they did it. They did the henna on me. It was so beautiful. And it was that made me decide I wanted a tattoo on my shoulder. That's part of being like having those kinds of relationships, right? It's so great. Okay, so making sure everything is nice and tidy, nice and clean. All right, and we are going to use, so you have your top glass. You can always use top glass, but hold tight. Okay, today we are going to use Accents Shine On. Have you used that before? Carrie, I know you love Shine On. It's one of your favorites. That is also available on the nailtech store. So you're able to get that there as well. So we'll go ahead and use this. You noticed I didn't buff anything. I just filed it, wiped off all that nail dust, did not have my client wash their hands. Now, do you know that's really important? If you have them wash their hands, those little water particles get stuck in all of that. So then you try and put your top coat on and you'll get a little pitting and you'll get little, like it just is not a smooth finish. So never have your client wash their hands. I mean, before their service, but not after. Okay. So when you do your polish, drop it back away from the cuticle and push it into the cuticle this way. And then straight down. See that magic? Yes. All right, we'll do it again over here. And you can see that beautiful finish. All right. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It's so hard. Like, I feel like I need to put my hand behind it so you can see. So nice. All right, so let me go ahead and put her in the lamp. We'll get her clear coated. Okay, so while I'm clear coating her. Okay, so isn't it beautiful? Ah, so pretty. I love this nail. And you know what? Right now, like the very muted, like whites and pinks, and they are really, really popular. The nudes are really popular as well. So I thought, you know what? Let's just play on that. Yeah, let's do something very muted. That rose quartz is a very, very popular look right now. So yeah, just beautiful. Just beautiful. So then next week we'll get to do some turquoise. That'll be good to follow through with our March month of, like, I was gonna say like mystical rocks. We'll just say happy rocks, guys. So it'll take just a few minutes to get this done here. Okay, so let's talk about our private group. So there is a private group that is connected to the Mirage Spa Education page. Okay, so make sure that you like that page. And then I have sent out invitations, like I've personally invited you to join that group, and it's Mirage Spa Education members only. That's what it's called. So watch for that invitation because it's coming through. And there's special things that are going to happen in that group. Okay. First off, you're going to have access to me. I want you to reach out to me, send me photographs of your work, send me messages, things like that. I definitely want that. And then there's going to be different promotions that you get, different codes, things like that. So there will be a lot of benefits to just being part of that private group. But of course, I just kind of want you to be my friend, and we're going to be on that group together. Okay. Okay. So obviously you can tell, like Christine, I'm trying to think how many years ago I taught Christine, and I've taught her a couple times, and Indra a couple times as well, in Trinidad, but we've been friends for years. So that's the kind of relationships I build with people that I teach. So one day, you guys, it won't just be on Zoom. We'll get to meet in person. I'm hoping for it. So here we go. I should pull it up closer to the camera. I'm gonna take her off of her hand. It's like this. This is awesome. Oh yes. So the prices are not visible until your account is approved. But of course, as students, we want you to be able to get access to the best products, as well as, being a professional nail tech. We want you there. So there you go, everybody. There's our fire opal for the day. What do you think? Good nail, right? It's been a good day. It's a great Wednesday. So that is it for today. I will actually be making this turquoise nail, and I'm going to post it so you guys can see what we're going into, as well as I'm going to put a list together. So if you want to join me and do it with me, then you can have it, and it'll be like side-by-side tutorial. So how cool will that be? So I'll put a list of things you need and a photo of what we're going to be learning next week. And then I will be in touch with everybody. I will let you know if we're going to keep things on Wednesday, and then hope that you can get on, YouTube if you're not able to join us, or if we do it on Mondays, you might be able to join us more, like more in person. So we'll just keep you all up to date on that one. Okay. So keep in touch with me, everybody. And if you do the nail, I want to see it. Send me pictures. Okay. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Okay. Bye.